At 11, the surge in retail theft and a months-long attempt to curb the trend. The added efforts police say are starting to work. Plus,
my mom's definitely not too much a fan of it. It does feel like we're just getting more and more behind.
the ripple effects of the teachers' strike, what classes were like for Portland students on what would have been the first day of winter break. And later, a dispute between the two largest medical providers in Oregon and the impact it could have on patients if an agreement isn't reached. Thank you for joining us for KGW News. I'm China Green. We start with new information on the plane crash that left 3 people dead over the weekend. We learned the victims were all Afghan refugees, Air Force pilots who worked with the U.S. military. Catherine Cook shows us who they were and the impact they made.
We lost 3 members of our family.
3 men, 3 pilots, 3 lives lost in a plane crash in Independence Saturday evening. Cell phone video shows the fiery wreckage. Inside the plane, Mohammed Hussein Musawi, Ali John Ferdowsi, and Mohammed Bashir Safdari. All 3 were Afghan Air Force officers who served with the U.S. military until the Taliban took over Afghanistan in 2021. As refugees, the U.S. granted them asylum for their work.
They were heroes. They were rebuilding their lives. They were transitioning from military aviation to commercial aviation in the United States.
Russ Pritchard is CEO of the Afghan American Development Group. The nonprofit helps former Afghan personnel with resettlement, job training, and family reunification.
They may have been career professionals in their country, as in military aviation, and they're here now as Uber Eats drivers and working night shift for Amazon. And that's why we work so hard to serve them.
Local nonprofit Salem for Refugees resettled the men here in spring of 2022. They tell KGW the pilots were part of a growing Afghan community that's devastated by the loss. The men were in a pilot training program sponsored by the nonprofit. Their deaths have touched many, including lawmakers. In a statement, Senator Jeff Merkley wrote, "This is a heartbreaking tragedy, and my thoughts are with the victims' families and loved ones. My office stands ready if there are ways to help their families during this difficult time." Salem for Refugees and the Afghan American Development Group both started GoFundMes to support the pilots' families and pay for funeral expenses. Pritchard says each of the men killed in the crash was married and had children back home, families they'd been supporting and dreaming of bringing to the United States. He says hundreds of others are still trying to do the same.
These men and women deserve to have their families with them. You know, they a final act of heroism to prevent weapons from falling into the hands of the Taliban, our enemies for 20 years. We owe it to them to get their families together.
In an effort to help those families, the Afghan American Development Group is starting a campaign next month called Separation No More, Reunification in 24. As for the crash, Independence police say it remains under investigation by federal aviation officials. They know the plane had been traveling in heavy fog, but it's unclear whether that played a part in the crash. China. Catherine, thank you. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines, Hillsborough police shot and killed a man who they say was holding a woman hostage inside her home. It happened Sunday morning on Northeast Merriam Way. Police say the woman had a restraining order against the suspect. Shortly after officers got on the scene, they say the suspect indicated that he was armed and took the woman hostage. 2 Hillsborough officers then fired their guns, killing the man. The officers are on administrative leave while Beaverton police investigate the shooting. A Portland foot doctor has been indicted on charges of alleged sex abuse of 2 female patients, and police say there may be more victims. 49-year-old Dr. Brian Bowen right there is accused of fondling 2 women during exams at East Side Foot Ankle on Northeast 44th Avenue. Police say an investigation was opened after the first woman came forward in September of last year. Dr. Bowen was indicted on 5 counts earlier this month. Call Portland Police if you have any information about this case. 2 18-year-olds associated with the so-called Kia Boys are charged in a crime spree across Seattle. The Kia Boys quickly went viral on social media for posting videos of how to steal Kias and Hyundai vehicles with a screwdriver and a USB cord. Investigators say they've tied Ralphie Manuma and Ardrell Davis to 5 armed robberies of convenience stores in less than 2 hours back in September. They face similar charges in Pierce County.
Portland Public School students are in school this week to make up for missed class time during the month-long teacher strike. Still, the district says hundreds of the teachers called out today. The district told KGW 558 teachers were out. That's about 50% of the total membership of the teachers union. In a Sunday letter to parents, Portland Public said that the students may have a substitute teacher. If classes get too small due to student absences, classrooms could be combined. That's left some students feeling like they're not learning very much.
I mean, I do appreciate that we do have less work because this should have been our break, but at the same time, it does feel like we're just getting more and more behind.
Portland Public previously said that they realized the added days would be disruptive for families and educators, though they felt it was the best option to make up the lost class time. We have an update tonight on a story that our KGW investigators have been following very closely: the rise in retail theft. Our Kyle Boshi has documented the rampant problem and the lack of consequences for the crooks. He went to find out if things are improving.
We've seen the video time and time again. Brazen thieves stealing merchandise from Portland area retailers, then running out the front door with little or no fear of being arrested or prosecuted. Over the past year, we've explored the issue of retail theft in nearly a dozen reports, speaking with store owners, police, shoppers, prosecutors, and even a convicted thief. So, has the situation improved?
My sense is the situation is slowly improving.
Sergeant Craig Anderson of Portland Police admits it's difficult to measure because shoplifting often goes unreported. Recently, a trade group, the National Retail Federation, has been criticized for using inaccurate organized retail crime figures that helped amplify claims that the U.S. was experiencing a nationwide surge in shoplifting. Portland police data suggests there has been a 45% increase in shoplifting cases in 2023 compared to last year. But again, police and retailers warn those numbers are imprecise.
I would argue that it's underreported because some of these, especially these lower level ones that, let's say a $20 theft, a lot of times the retailers are like, this isn't worth our time, we're not going to even report it.
Over the past year, officers at East Precinct have tackled the problem by conducting retail theft missions. Photos and videos of their shoplifting crackdowns shared on social media. Officers have also worked with store security to ensure their reports are thorough and include surveillance video or still photos.
And so it's been easier with that relationship to put those pieces together to make a better case.
Another big change? In some cases, retailers can now submit theft reports online.
You just hit start new police report.
Previously, if there was a known suspect, retailers had to call the non-emergency line, then wait for an officer to arrive, which was time-consuming. Collectively, these improvements in reporting appear to be helping build stronger cases. Last year, a KGW investigation found Multnomah County is prosecuting less than half of all misdemeanor theft cases in Portland. Since then, prosecution rates for Theft 2 and Theft 3, which represent most shoplifting cases, have gone up. The new data indicates Multnomah County is now on par with others, such as Washington and Clackamas County, in prosecuting retail theft.
I think some of the things that have changed is our relationships and reaching out proactively from our office to retailers.
In July, Multnomah County DA Mike Schmidt and other local leaders announced a new retail theft task force, which includes a dedicated prosecutor.
Having a deputy district attorney on the scene at some of these missions means that we can give legal advice right there as police officers are making their cases.
In January 2024, new laws will take effect in Oregon targeting retail theft. The state legislature passed several bills that increase penalties and step up enforcement. Individual cases can now be added together if thefts were committed against the same or multiple victims in a one-year period. Prosecutors say the new laws will help them go after some of the most prolific thieves, like Austin Bailey. He's now serving prison time in Washington state after hitting big box retailers. Surveillance video shows his aggressive tactics, filling garbage bags with merchandise right in front of employees. Investigators say this type of criminal activity is largely driven by drugs. Often criminals steal so they can get their next fix. In the end, treating one problem, drug addiction, could help cure another. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
If you have a story idea for Kyle to investigate, give him a call at 503-226-5041, or you can email Kyle at kgw.com.